Hi guys, this is CJ from AgentSmartly, your California real estate salesperson exam prep website boiled down to 144 key concepts, of course with practice questions and progress tracking, right? So today, we're breaking down the principle of contribution, which is very, very important. So I will leave the website link in the description below. And so now let's get into it. So first, we go to this key concept tab, and we go to the under here, right here, the principle of contribution, right? So think of like upgrade like a tip jar, right? So what matters is how much buyer puts in, not what you spend on the jar. Principle of contribution says improvement that's worth only add value to the market. So I know from this definition is a little bit blurry, right? A little bit so abstract. So basically, sometimes you spend. Let's give you guys a real world example, right? So sometimes you spend 20K to build a swimming pool in your backyard, but it doesn't mean the future buyer willing to pay that extra 20K, that the add-on value, right? Maybe they don't need a swimming pool. They don't want to pay for the extra 20K. So that's the principle of contribution. So it really depends on what the market, what the buyer willing to pay the price. But it doesn't mean you spend 20K that will add 20K value. I hope that explain a little bit more. And the cost value is not the same, right? Once again, the cost is how much you spend for the improvement, right? The contribution, but the value is not necessarily will match how much you spend. That's the key, right? Key points. For the exam trap is okay, a 20,000 improvement at 20,000 value. That's not true. You're okay. It could be true, but could be not true, right? It really depends on how much the buyer willing to pay. The principle of marginal contribution means measure the extra value, market value create, not the owner spending. Once again, it's about how much people willing to pay for the improvement, right? The contribution ask for the member trick, right? The member ask what the buyer add to the price tag. It's not how much you spend. Once again, it's not the cost, but the value, right? A real world example, Mia in Fresno spent 60K adding a pool, just like we said earlier, the pool, right? But the similar home showed the pool sells only 25K more. So the contribution is 25K, not 60K. So do not confuse with cross approach, estimate, and the building costs contribution. Ask what the buyer actually willing to pay for the extra. Once again, it's not the cost but the value add, right? So the right answer will say, oh, the added value will equal the cost to install. Circle the keywords, add market value. Okay, so I hope that explained more. Then I also made this infographic for you guys to break down a little bit this further, right? More visually. So principle of contribution means share the costs, share the benefits. Going down here, once again, add value, right? So exam trap. For the memory trick, you can see here the much you put it in, but it doesn't mean that the value you add on, right? For the memory trick, build together, share the value. And yeah, that's pretty much about that. So once again, if you guys study for your salesperson exam, you might check our website, AgentSmartly.com, right? AgentSmartly.com, we have the 144 key concept already see here on the top, right? After that, you could practice, let's say here is the property. You could practice from here, or you could also practice from this practice page right here, right? You base on each topic or the full exam. And also, last but not least, we also track your progress. Let's see right now I have the readiness score 100. That sounds good, right? So we have a calculate with 4 pillars, right? How many accuracy topics and key concepts, right? So yeah, that's pretty much about everything about like principle of contribution. Hope you guys include no more. If you like this kind of video, make sure to subscribe our channel, because every week we release the key concept for your salesperson exam. So bye for now. Happy studying.